Okay, good evening. Today is Tuesday, October 13th, 2020, and this is the opening of the Board of Selectmen meeting. I'm looking for a motion to go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the body, and the chair so declares.
So moved. Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Roll call.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
We're now in executive session. Okay, we're out of executive session, getting ready to start our regular scheduled meeting. If you guys could please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Kemet, would you be so kind to read the announcements for us, please?
Yes, I will. The town of Hanson will offer in-person early voting for the November 3rd presidential election at Town Hall, 542 Liberty Street, in the town clerk's office for 2 weeks, starting Saturday, October 17th, and ending Friday, October 30th. The hours for early voting at Town Hall will be as follows. I might add, they are also posted to the town clerk's portion of our website. Saturday, October 17th, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Sunday, October 18th, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Monday, October 19th, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Tuesday, October 20th, 8:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Wednesday, October 21st, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Thursday, October 22nd, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Friday, October 23rd, 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Saturday, October 24th, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Sunday, October 25th, 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Monday, October 26th, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Tuesday, October 27th, 8:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Wednesday, October 28th, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Thursday, October 29th, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And finally, Friday, October 30th, 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. And where the heck is the other? There will also be a voter registration session held on Saturday, October 24th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Town Hall. This will be the last day to register to vote for the November 3rd state election. Any citizen may register to vote online or by mail-in registration. Any resident citizen who will be 18 years of age by November 3rd is eligible to register to vote by October 24th. Volunteers are needed on the following committees: Facebook Upkeep Committee, 200th Anniversary Committee, Conservation Commission, Associate Members, Cultural Council, Disabilities, Economic Development, Highway Building Committee, Historical Commission, Memorial Day Patriotic Observance, Memorial Field Trustees, and North River Commission. Applications for appointment and info on the committee are available on the town website at www.hanson-ma.gov. Upcoming meetings: Board of Selectmen, October 27th, 2020. Board of Selectmen, November 17th, 2020.
Thank you. Okay, first up on the agenda is the special permit application hearing. So I'm looking for a motion to open up the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Okay. So this hearing is going to be continued until November 17th at 6 p.m. Okay, and that's going to be a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen and also the Zoning Board of Appeals. I'm looking for a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, first up under new business, Police Department update. We have Chief Mix here, and we have some appointees with some young officers that would like to take care of. And Chief, you have the floor.
Would you like me to start with the officers?
Yeah, start with the officers, please.
Great. So briefly, we put an ad out for another full-time officer. You recall when we outsourced the communications, the 911 center, to Duxbury, we had 5 civilian positions. Out of those, we lost those 5 civilian positions to Duxbury. And to keep the station open, I needed 4, I don't want to call them new officers because everybody thinks I'm hiring like new bodies. They're new to us, but they're 4 officers coming in to replace the 5 civilian positions, which still brought me in less of a budget than I had before they left. One of the candidates didn't make the requirements that was going to go to the academy in January, and unfortunately, so we lost that candidate. That left me another opening, and we decided we'd see what was out there for what we call a lateral, to see if there's an already trained officer out there that'd be willing to come to us. As you know from the news and everything, there aren't a lot of people exactly banging down the door to become cops anymore. But we got about 30 applicants. Out of the 30, there were only about 5 or 6 that actually met the requirements that we advertised, and that was that they had a full-time academy. Actually, I'm going to remove this because it'll probably hit me better. What we did, because we're always recruiting as well to look for possible part-timers, they brought in 10 individuals and interviewed. And this one individual, Robert Mansfield, stood out for a couple of reasons. He grew up in Whitman. He's a Whitman Hanson graduate. He worked down the Cape, the Yarmouth Police Department. His wife got an opportunity at a job on Martha's Vineyard. He left the Yarmouth after a short period of time and went over to Oak Bluffs. This would be the second officer that we've had transfer from Oak Bluffs to us. So the Oak Bluffs chief, who I know fairly well, probably is not liking me at the moment. But Robert Mansfield, he has a full-time police academy. He went to the Randolph Academy. He's got 5 years of experience as a police officer. Like I said, he grew up in the area. His wife and he decided they wanted to come off the island and get a house and start a family. And obviously trying to buy a house over at Martha's Vineyard on any salary short of something on Wall Street is difficult. So he's very excited and looking forward to coming over to us. Background, when we did a background on him, this is the second time this has happened. And the other one was with the Oak Bluffs officer that we transferred in. So nobody said a bad word. And over in the island, you expect at least a complaint or something somewhere in the lines when you start digging. And everybody spoke very highly of him. I'm very close with the Yarmouth chief, who we worked for about a year. Had nothing but good things to say about him, and said he was sad when he left. If Mr. Mansfield, if you would be willing to take him on, I think he'll make a great addition to the department, and he'll also be saving us quite a bit of money because he won't be in an academy for 6 months. I can have him up and running probably shortly after the holidays. And I don't believe I requested a date, but on the date I request for his appointment would be November 1st. Probably be after that, but we need an official start date anyways. Other background with him, like I said, he's married, he's looking forward to starting a family. He graduated from UMass Boston, and he also attended Mass Maritime and majored in emergency management. Again, he's got a lot of in-house training, especially in some of the traffic enforcement things, drug recognition. Again, I think he'd be a great addition, and I would love to have him here.
Good, excellent. So let's start with, first of all, any questions for the chief regarding the officers? No? Matt, why don't we start with Nick Kanowski?
Sure.
Oh, you want me to give you background on each one? I don't have that in front of me, so I can't. So let me go into Nick real quick too, and then...
Yeah, you want to go through all of them, and then we'll go through one. Okay.
So Nick Kanowski, Nick has been a part-time officer for Hanson, and you probably don't know this, for over 10 years. He's another local kid. He worked in IT for Whitman Hanson. When he worked for Whitman Hanson in IT, that's when the previous chief put him on a part-time officer. And he would do some details. Wasn't overly active in the department, but he's been hanging around and doing the training he needs to do every year to keep up. And he's been great because although he's got a full-time job, he's working during the day. If we call him at night for an emergency detail or something, he stepped up, come right in when we needed help. So Nick would be a great full-time. Now he's kind of looked at, he wants kind of a career change. He's the director of sales at JLC Tech. He does lighting for like inside stores and office buildings. Prior to that, he worked for a Cocoa Fit Club. He's been a personal trainer. And then, of course, he was a support technician for Hanson. So he does have a fair amount of IT background, which if I can get somebody to just fix the printers, I mean, Ryan's stretched thin, and I get it, but you know, my guy's idea of fixing the printers is smacking it with something and hoping that the paper spits out that they wanted. We know that doesn't work well. So Nick would be able to help us out on a lot of things. Again, he's married with a child, and I left out. He worked for the federal government too at one point, and actually worked for the Secret Service. So one of the other reasons that you didn't always see him around. What I'm looking to do with Nick is put him in a police academy, hopefully the next Plymouth Academy. I'm still trying to get an academy in January for him at the Cape, but they only open so many slots to off Cape. So he's kind of in a holding pattern there, but what I'd like to do is have him appointed as a student police officer for February 1st. That would get him into the Plymouth Police Academy in February. He would then be one of the 3 that we're filling for the civilian jobs we lost, if that makes sense. And then the next one I have up is Kyle Orsani. Kyle came to us in the past year, actually the past 6 months, as a part-time officer. Grew up in East Bridgewater. He's just finishing college at Bridgewater State with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. He's been an auxiliary officer in Whitman for the past year, and prior to that he worked at the Y in East Bridgewater as a personal trainer, fitness instructor. What we've been doing with some of the part-time officers before they go in the academy to try and see if they fit, and this has been working very well, is we go through put them through our field training program, and that gives us a good idea if they're going to fit in the department, if they have good interactions with people, if they're understanding the laws, they're learning our way of doing things, our policies and procedures. It's worked out great. It worked out with Officer Thompson tremendously, and then when he came out of the academy, it was just a short retraining period, and he was up and running on the road on his own. Kyle, the field training officers that have been dealing with him have nothing but positive, great things to say about him. I've already gotten a couple of citizens' comments on him, on his politeness, how he's interacted with people on some calls. Again, this is what I'm looking for in officers. They're going to fit in the town. They know the town, and they're polite and respectful and intelligent. And I've got it all with all 3 of these, it looks like. And so Kyle, I've actually managed to secure a spot in the Cape Cod Police Academy starting January 4th. He's all set to go. I've got him. All I need is your blessing to appoint him as a student police officer, and he'll be good to go. And I'll have him on the road probably in June, and that would bring me up to the 4 officers that we originally were looking to put on the department to replace the 5 that we lost and keep the station open, because that's been a little bit of a struggle with some overtime and some forcing people in, because I don't always have enough bodies, and I'm doing the best I can to not shortchange the actual officers on the street as well. So these 3 will put the plan, that'll finish the plan, put it that way.
And Lieutenant Casey, are we not discussing that this evening, or?
Do you want to do that too?
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't have the agenda in front of me, so sorry.
I figured we'd do the offices and then you can go to that, but yeah, however you want to do it, it's fine.
Well, you're the chair. You tell me what you want to do.
Why don't we do the offices first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I was thinking there's not much discussion there.
no.
Right, right.
And then we can talk about that.
Does anybody have any questions for the chief? Not seeing any? All right, Matt, go
All
ahead.
right. Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that part-time officer Kyle Basani be appointed as a student police officer effective January 4th, 2021. Upon successful completion of the Cape Cod Police Academy, student officer Basani will be appointed as a full-time police officer in the town of Hanson.
So moved. Second, I mean, sorry. You're moving.
Second, Laura?
Yeah.
Any questions? All those in favor? 5-0.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that part-time officer Nick Kanowski be appointed as a student police officer effective February 1st, 2021. Upon successful completion of the police academy, student officer Kanowski will be appointed as a full-time police officer in the town of Hanson.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Good, Matt.
And then, Mr. Chair, lastly, I'd like to make a motion that Robert Mansfield be appointed as a full-time police officer in the town of Hanson, contingent upon successfully passing a medical exam, a psychological exam, and a background check.
Second.
With an effective date.
Effective date of November 1st.
There you go. Did I get a second? Paul?
Yep.
All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, Chief, go ahead.
Great, thank you very much. I'm sure they're going to be thrilled when I call them tonight. The last thing I asked for is it's a little different. So in the department, the second in command in the department historically has been the lieutenant. What's been happening in the area, and I'll look just my neighbors in East Bridgewater and West Bridgewater. Norwell has the same thing. Carver is in the process of trying to do this as well. They're renaming their number 2 officer, their executive officer, as a deputy chief. And hadn't thought about it in the past for a couple of reasons. One, historically, that's the way it's been here. 2, I didn't have the right person in there to necessarily give the title to. As you know, Lieutenant Casey, he's going into his 3rd year as lieutenant, and I don't want to go too much into his job performance because I think it'd be unfair, and we don't want to kind of go into something like that when he's not here. But I can summarize it very briefly in that I'm overly impressed with the amount that he's picked up. I'm very impressed with his enthusiasm. He has a great way of dealing with the officers, making sure he picks up on, if they got issues going on, whether it's in their home life or at work, and making sure that we can correct those issues or take care of those issues for the officers and the employees. He's just been doing an outstanding job. The reason that it came up with Lieutenant to make him deputy chief is a few things that I've noticed. One is he's really doing the job of a deputy chief. If you look at the job descriptions of some of the ones in the area, he's doing everything. More importantly, in the past few months, I've had him start working on policies and procedures. So if he's at the point where he's starting to help make policy for the department, then I think he deserves the title. And that's all it is right now, the title. No one's asking for any more money. No one's asking for any other benefits. It's a title change right now. Better reflect the job that he's doing and the responsibilities he's taking on. That also being said, when somebody from an outside department or another department comes in, all the departments are structured a little different. And having done this for 25 years now, I can go to one department and you might find a lieutenant who is nothing more than doing the same job as some of the sergeants or a patrolman. Other times, they're the number 2 person when we started to interact with other departments, especially with like Semlec, he's taken on a leadership role with the motor unit. That deputy chief title will help in the command and control of these other units. And again, when somebody comes in from the outside, oh, you're the lieutenant. Well, no, the chief's not here and I'm the deputy chief. It makes things a little different. It definitely allows for better interaction with other law enforcement agencies. I think that the public would understand and respect the title a little more. And again, he's doing the job of a deputy chief. He was doing it before, but I've actually, over the time, as he's grown in the position, he's taken on more and more responsibilities, and he's doing a great job. And I think a simple title change, it's not going to cost anything. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's going to cost me about $200 for 2 new badges. So I shouldn't say it's zero, but it's minimal. And I know it would mean a lot to him. And I haven't had number 2 you learn so much so quickly and be so dedicated. Not to me so much as he's so dedicated to this town and that department. He really feels it when something negative happens, and he goes out of his way to try and make sure that it makes it right, and that the town of Hanson and the Hanson Police Department isn't embarrassed or ashamed of anything that goes on, which we won't go into history. So that's my sales pitch. Does anybody get any questions? Well, oh wait, let me throw one more thing out there because I'm going to anticipate the question. I'm not going to put another person in the lieutenant's position. So there's no funding for that. It does allow that as a placeholder in the future if we see some leadership development. Let me throw this part at you too. So that the lieutenant's position will not be filled. We'll be renaming the lieutenant deputy chief. Those badges and the nameplate, those will go up on a shelf somewhere. In the future, it'd be a good placeholder if we have the right person. One of my goals when I came here, and one of my goals if I leave, is to make sure that you have some choices as to who's got to be the next chief. And it shouldn't be whoever's applying from on a state because they see an advertisement across the country. We need to bring up our own. I think that's a sign of a very successful organization when they can promote from within. We fall in a little stalemate right now within the department. We have a lot of younger officers, and I've already heard some of the rumblings, not that they're complaining or anything, but they do look around and say, well, how can I grow? And I think anybody looks at that in their profession. How can I grow? Can I move up? Well, the sergeant positions are filled. You know what, if there's that, maybe in a few years, one of the sergeants has shown some real leadership qualities, not that any of them aren't now, but if they really are, I say, hey, we got to start getting somebody else ready to be the next deputy chief or something. That placeholder, that lieutenant would be a good thing to have there. It's a little hope, something else for other people to strive for, because we're at a level right now where no one's going anyplace other than one officer will lose in the next year to mandatory retirement. Other than that, no one's going anyplace for a few years, so they're going to be stagnant. But there is no, I'm not going to put it in next year's budget. I'm not going to do anything with the lieutenant's position. It's going to go on a shelf.
Good. I personally think, it's a great story. I mean, you've got a kid that started out as a patrolman in the 90s, worked his way up to sergeant, and then worked his way up from Hanson, worked his way up to lieutenant, been over 20 years in the force, and now you're looking to change his title as deputy chief, someday, chief, you're going to get gray and old and you're going to have to go. So hopefully, all right, we'll just talk about the old times. So, Laura always talks about succession plan. What do you have? And I personally think it's great. I can't tell you how many times in conversations with the chief, in the past that he's brought up, Casey's doing this, whether it's grants and all that. And ever since he's got promoted, then he's been happy. So I know for me personally, I would be happy to do it.
I agree with everything you just said. My only hesitancy is in the back of my mind. I'm thinking, does this title change Is there some legal thing that it triggers? Have we had Labor Council look at it? Like, does this, I just want to make sure that there's no pitfalls for the unwary here, that we make this title change and suddenly, like the tree warden situation, like that suddenly we've got a requirement, or we've got, I don't know. I just want to know that we've had Labor Council chime in that like this is, I have no dispute with Lieutenant Casey. I think he does a fantastic job, and everything you said I agree with. And I am into succession planning, and I'm also into rewarding people for a job well done, and he's done a good job. I just want to make sure we've looked at that,
So I can answer some of that. One, I went through, because like I said, historically, there's been a lieutenant's position here. And I believe the first lieutenant, and I may be mistaken, it might have been Rusty King. Well, she'd have a better memory than I would on it.
I don't know if it was the first or not.
But that's one of the points that the department was growing, and they came up with the lieutenant then. So, not being a civil service community, we are not. If for example, like I mentioned, Carver was looking to do it, West Bridgewater is looking to do it. They're civil service communities, and they fall under civil service law. If we were a civil service community, yes, I'd have to go through some other procedures to name him that. We're not a civil service community, and we're not bound by any of those laws, from the hiring to the promotion to the firing. We're not stuck under civil service, which, having been in the civil service place, trust me, is a good thing. I looked at. There's nothing in the bylaws on the administration of the police department that specifically says anything one way or another about it, other than the chief. Contractually, his contract says lieutenant. I think it's a pretty easy change because he's still under a contract. It's a pretty easy change. We could probably do it with a handshake and an amendment to the back of it. If you are comfortable talking to town council, I don't see a problem with that. But there's no legal obligations I could find. My first concern was exactly that: is am I bound somewhere by bylaw? And I'm not. So I don't know what any other outside influence could possibly interfere with it. And I'll give you an example too of how even a place that is civil service with title changes doesn't need anything, and that's the Boston Police Department. Your superintendents, when you see a deputy superintendent or a superintendent in Boston PD, they hold a civil service rank. It could be sergeant, it could be lieutenant, it could be captain, and at the direction of whoever the commissioner is, he names superintendents. So his or her leaders, they take them out of civil service on a temporary basis, and they retitle them. I don't see it being anything really different than that. Again, I looked through the town bylaws, there's nothing in there.
Well, I believe you. I have no reason to doubt you, and I think you do a great job too. I would just personally feel more comfortable if we either got an opinion and took this up in 2 weeks, or that the vote was contingent upon Labor Council saying that there's no gotchas. I just have something in the back of my head, like there's a lot of things that have to tick and tie on job titles, labor. I just want to make sure that we're not stepping into something weird that we haven't anticipated.
All right, okay. Anybody else? Good, Jim.
I was going to ask about the lieutenant's position, but the chief already answered it.
Yeah.
So
Good.
I have no.
I think he might have anticipated.
I think he did. I don't know how he did that.
I don't. If you want to amend the motion a little bit, that it's reviewed upon review of the town council, I don't see that being a problem at all.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
So
So you're the one reading the motion. So.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true. All right. Mr. Chair, I make a motion to name Lieutenant Casey to Deputy Police Chief. His current contract shall remain in effect until June 30th, 2021. This is only a title change upon review of Labor Council.
It's subject to review of labor.
Yeah, subject, yeah.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Is
Well,
that
this
it,
is
Chief?
exciting, Chief. This is great.
That's,
Unless you
Yeah.
guys have questions for me, that's it.
No, this is
Okay.
awesome.
I'm gonna go get
so if Deputy Police Chief Michael Casey is listening, congratulations and keep up the hard work.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you very much for these 3 officers, too. I'm gonna be calling them on my ride to Plymouth to an ice cream.
Here for Halloween talk.
Halloween? Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, we can, it's gonna be brief.
What are we skipping to?
We're gonna move up Halloween. I have the email from you, so we're gonna talk about Halloween if I can find it. Discuss Halloween activities. All right, so obviously we have Halloween and we need to see how everybody thinks about Halloween. It's gonna be on a Saturday. I'll go first. I think that we should continue Halloween, but just put some, try to put out some safeguards or, let some people know, like putting candy in bags versus having people dip their hands in bowls, and hand it out. I really don't see canceling Halloween as a positive on a Saturday. I mean, I know when my kids were little how important Halloween was.
It's huge.
You
I mean,
know?
it's really huge, and I think people know that they need to be safe. I mean, I don't know who the heck was telling me, but they sell Nerf guns that you can shoot the candy at the kids, which sounded kind of good to me. And then I saw somebody else was going to do a PVC pipe on their, through their window and kind of shoot it down that way. Like, people are getting creative.
So I could do this from the inside of my house, you say?
Well, I mean, you could do all of those things, so I think people are going to, again, the similar approach we've taken to in the past is, what the deal is, okay? You've got to socially distance. This is a virus. It's not going away anytime soon. We've got little people who, have had a pretty abysmal year, and that would be the understatement of the year. And if this is some little amount of joy that they can get before we're all shut in for the winter, with this stuff, and I don't want to cancel Halloween. I just would urge people to be cautious. That's all. Just be cautious and think about
No, I
your
agree.
approach.
What do you guys think?
No, I agree. Canceling Halloween is out of the question, but talking to some of the other younger parents in town, I even asked my wife, what would we do if our kids were 12, 10, 7, and 5? I'd be going with them, like I would have anyways.
Right.
Whether it's, a 10 or 12-year-old kid going with his best buddies, as long as the groups are small, and the parents are behind, and if it's 2 different parents, obviously there's social distancing. I think just people have to use their heads.
Right.
My house is going to be ready. So if somebody comes at 2 in the afternoon or 3 in the afternoon, I'm going to be ready. If somebody comes at 8 o'clock, my light's out.
Yep.
I'm done passing out candy at 8 o'clock. One of the concerns I heard was the middle school students, gathering together because they're not going to want to go out with their parents. And it's, they're young adults. It's going to be up to them to make sure they're following the protocol because you can't watch them 24/7. You can't.
Maybe, Jim, to that point, maybe we could just, check in with the superintendent and see if the schools can just reinforce some messaging around that for the middle school guys, just, just kind of reinforce, hey, we're doing it, but, don't make us regret it, because,
And the other thing too, Kenny, I like your idea about the candy, but Michelle actually mentioned to me, it wouldn't be a bad idea to let the candy sit for 24 hours. Don't put it in the freezer. Just don't open your bag. Take out a couple of pieces from your neighbors, but just let the bag sit. We still don't know how long it can last on stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody's sure about that. So, it wouldn't hurt, Laura said it, you just got to use common sense.
Mr. Bloss, anything?
No, I think I know Mr. Hickey, and if he's turning his lights out at 8 o'clock,
Yours are going out
my
at
lights out at 8
7:59.
o'clock. It's like, don't come on Perry Ave after 8 o'clock.
All right. Mr. Dyer?
No, but just, I'm thrilled that the board is supportive of having Halloween, and just want to remind everyone, even if you're at home handing out the candy, wear a mask.
yes.
If you're trick-or-treating, wear a mask. you know, and
And
just
we can maybe
practice.
put something on the Facebook page before, you know,
Yeah,
come up with
John.
just some basic.
Can we share this on our, on the website?
Great
maybe?
idea.
Chief, good night.
Thanks, Chief.
Here you go.
Kenny, I just asked
you wanna
John
add
if we might
anything
be able
about
to put
Halloween?
this up on our website.
I was
Just so
gonna say that this, what you have is from the CDC, which I thought was
Yeah.
actually better than what's on the mass.gov site. I think if you just did a little education, and I'm more than willing to put on my social media stuff leading up to it too. If the Board of Health has something they want to put on.
Yep.
I think if you send that home, like the week ahead of time through the school,
Yeah, that's actually a good
I
idea too.
think that would go a long way. And
Okay.
and if you really encourage people, instead of having somebody ring your doorbell, kind of turn it into a socially distanced neighborhood block party, so to speak, where you put a table at the end of your driveway.
Yep.
Let the kids come up and pick something that's spread out, so they're not sticking their hands in the bowl and stuff. I think that would work.
These are all good ideas.
Mr. Chair, too.
Good, yeah.
Well, as we're talking about safety too, we can't forget about Triple E and mosquitoes. You know, I know we sprayed, I know it's kind of been getting cold out, but we're still at high risk. You know, wear your bug spray
Yeah, good
as
point.
well, so.
Thanks, man.
Good, excellent. All right, thanks, Chief.
Great, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, vote and approve the September donations. Did you guys look at those? So I'm looking for a motion to approve the donations
So
for
moved.
September.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, execute November 3rd, 2020 state election warrant. Do we need a vote on that, John, or we just need to sign it?
You just have to sign it. It doesn't hurt to vote on it. I don't think you can't change it. This is the warrant that has to be posted, so people can vote.
Okay, so what do you want what do you want the motion to?
To execute
I move
as
to vote.
presented or
Yeah,
something like
I
that?
move to execute the warrant as posted, or as presented. It's exactly what.
All right, so moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, vote to place the following question on the May 15, 2020 town election ballot. Shall the town vote to have its elected tree warden become an appointed tree warden of the town of Hanson?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? 5-0. Okay, appointments. Yeah. Does anybody want to,
Sri Karan Kodali?
Mr. Proddy could not make it this evening.
Okay.
He's going to come to the next meeting.
okay. So, we're going to wait, hold off on the appointment?
It's up to you.
Well,
Because it's
have you met with him at all, or? Yeah, I mean, it's several appointments. I
Are they
think
going
we
to be
should.
meeting? Does anybody know?
Well, you mean any of them? I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I don't want to hold the guy up if,
No, but it would be nice for us to, well, economic development, John's gonna, I mean, we've got a couple people on that now, right, John? We're gonna get that popping at, at some point in the future. And it would be nice to see him and meet him before, because he's applying for 3 committees.
right, okay. Yeah, that's fine. So, Greer, you'll reach out to him and have him come to our next meeting?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we'll move down to Joshua Pratty, 267 Brook Street, Board of Appeals alternate.
I think he may be here.
Oh, you are here?
Yep.
How you doing, Joshua?
Good, how about yourself?
Good. Come on up to the microphone.
You got it.
Can you sing?
Only in the shower.
Good answer. So you want to just give us just a brief, tell us, what you're doing and why do you want to be on the Board of Appeals?
Well,
Or as an alternate?
I've been in the construction field all my life, really, and I've worked within the restrictions of the zoning board before. I do a lot of site work. I do residential building design. I do all sorts of things within the construction industry. And I'm new to town, and I feel like I should give back to the community.
There's no better way to meet the town.
I like that answer.
Yeah, thanks, welcome aboard.
No, we really need, I don't think people really appreciate how important that particular board is. It, to me, is one of the most important boards in town. So I'm glad that somebody with your background is stepping up and volunteering to do it. And of course, you know, there'll be conflict of interest stuff that you'll have to read through and all that. I'm sure you're aware of it. But that's fantastic. We really appreciate you applying. I mean, I don't know if anybody has any other questions, because I'm ready to make a motion here.
Yeah, no, go for it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I move to appoint Joshua Proddy of 267 Brook Street to Board of Appeals alternate. And what is the term for that? Do we know?
It's alternate.
But is it through till June of...
Oh, that's an annual.
Okay, all right. So it's an annual appointment, I guess. So when we do our appointments in June, we'll likely just reappoint you, but, unless we've changed our procedure by then, but you'll be aware of that. And so, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say something.
Good. Motion made and seconded. Is there any more questions?
No, I just want to mention, I'm sure you'll hear from Virginia Costley, who is their admin and the chair, and they'll get you on board with the meeting schedule and all
Yes,
that.
I'm pretty close with Mr. Perkins and Mr. Cushing.
Okay, all right, great.
Okay, all those in favor? 5-0. Okay, congratulations, sir, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joshua.
Okay, requests. Bryce Parkinson, Town Hall Beautification Eagle Scout Project. Looks like I see
We're
a
going to guess that's Bryce.
pencil Eagle Scout out there. Come on up to the podium.
Come on up, Bryce.
How you doing tonight? Just don't look at your mom, you'll be fine.
So,
Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing over there.
so the plan of the beautification project is, as stated, is to beautify the town hall. Which, in order to do that, I was planning on installing a couple of picnic benches out back by the lampposts around the bend, and by the boat launch. And then also cleaning up that area a little bit, because I did notice there was ground tarp underneath some of the soil there, and then there was stuff growing through it. So I was planning on clearing that out, and then just disposing of it. And then also fixing the bench that is out by the shoreline, in the grass that's been plowed over. And I was planning on either moving it close to the boat launch or overlooking where that fishing area is down there.
Have you talked to conservation at all? Because I know that is conservation land, and you've got to be careful with plants on the wetlands and what you can cut and not cut. So you may want to just touch base with Mr. Clemens, who's the chair of conservation on that, just to walk him through what you plan for the plants, what you're doing there with the landscape. If it's right along, if I'm picturing what you're talking about correctly, I think you're going to want to talk to Mr. Clemens about it.
And you can get his number from Town Hall, and he'll go out and meet you and walk it with you,
All right.
I think it's great. We're excited.
I'm
Thank
just
you.
planning on giving people at the town hall a nice place to eat lunch.
Yeah, we're excited. A lot of people hang out there, I see people all the time fishing, having dinner, walking. So we're excited. Thank you for thinking about it.
Now, do you have I know the last one we had, he was coming up on the age. Is it 18 you have to have it done by?
Yeah.
Are you coming up with any birthdays where it's got to be done right away, or are you okay?
Next May, but I can also file for extension and get a couple months extra if
Okay.
it needs it. But
Did you say May?
Yeah.
Oh, you're a planner. We get them 2 months
Yeah.
before, sometimes a month before. Yeah.
I don't think it won't be done by next May anyway, so.
And supplies, what are you gonna need for supplies on the project?
I was gonna supply everything, like, through funding of my own, which I was going to get, like, someone to work on the bench out there if you wanted to keep the bench, or we could get, like, we could make a new bench if you wanted to. Or, and then we need to get 1 to 2 picnic tables put up back there. And then, other than that, it's just like equipment for removing the ground tarp and then removing any foliage out there that's already been like trimmed, but hasn't been like, properly taken care of.
Okay. Is any more questions from him?
No,
It's really just Phil that he
it's the
should reach out
normal
to.
adult supervision, I assume you've got adult supervision, your troop's gonna help you and all that good stuff, right? Because that's what makes it so special. Okay.
It's all being done by us.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
through you, when do you plan to start working on the project?
I was hoping to start early next spring,
Great.
so March, and then get it done by at least before May, if not by the end of April.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Just a question.
Yes, Mr. Yankee, that question.
Bryce, there was just a scout, Eagle Scout, that got the extension. I can't think of his name. Do you know who it is?
There were a couple that I know of.
He came before us.
He wasn't from Hanson.
Huh?
He wasn't from Hanson.
Oh, he was? Oh, he's from...
This is Kalani,
Oh, right.
and
Okay.
he was from Weymouth, right?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
my point is that Boy Scouts of America do, under these circumstances, grant an extension
Yep.
if
Okay.
Bryce ran into a problem. And forgive me if you've already said it, I may not have heard you. Any fundraising?
It'll all be done by me. I'm collecting bottles and cans
Okay.
already. And
Oh, you've already done it?
yeah, I have like a couple $100 in like cans, and then I'm also going to be collecting more cans over the winter months.
Okay.
And then
All right,
after
cool.
that, I don't really have any
Because
fundraising.
if you,
What else was the fundraising mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There might be some way to put this out so we could donate our cans to the cause.
yeah. I was going to say, if you do decide to have another, fundraising, bottle drive type thing, if you drop a note into, the selectman's office, we can mention it in our announcements.
Jim,
I
think-
was a Boy Scout,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
whatever it takes.
In the past, we also have let people use Thomas Mill, the parking lot there to collect, so that's another option. If you just work with us and let us
Yep.
just communicate to John, and we can support you that way.
Good luck, Bryce.
All right.
Thank you.
We're looking for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Third.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0.
With gratitude, thanks in advance.
Yeah.
Bryce, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay? And it's Phil Clemens that you want to reach out to. And you can call, what's the best office to call?
If you could, you can
You can call the
John.
Selectmen's
Yeah.
office, and this young lady right there will get you,
Bryce, I'll call you
Phil's number.
tomorrow. I have his cell phone.
oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's even better. All right? How did he do, Mom?
Bryce.
He did great, good. Good luck, Bryce. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Have a good night. Okay, next up is old business. Discuss recreation vote, the YMCA offer. So the rec commission, I know Diane was here, but the rec commission,
Actually, Ken, I think you skipped item 8.
What?
Recreation, Boy Scout overnight camping fees.
Yeah,
oh,
yep.
yep, I did miss item 8. I saw Boy Scout. I apologize. Recreation request to discount Boy Scout overnight camping fees on November 6th.
I mean, have we read it? They are asking to take $10, cut it in half to 5. Because of COVID, each Boy Scout has to sleep in his own tent.
Yeah,
So they
they got
can't, there's no doubling up.
No, all boys,
They just
they're
asked
all
for
over.
that reduction.
I mean, I'm fine with that. This
Yeah, me
is a, you know, circumstance beyond their control.
Right, I agree.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. Okay, so on the YMCA, I mean, the rec commission voted it down, so I don't think there's any need for discussion, you know. Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, Diane had to leave, but she did send me a note if you want me to read it.
Okay, is it a note to you or is it
It's
a note
to the
for
board.
Okay.
No, just saying that.
General, yeah.
This is why they came to the conclusion that they did not approve it. They said the bills for the camp are $1,000 a month, just the heat, to keep the lodge at a minimum so pipes don't freeze. So that's $1,000 a month, not for the pipes to freeze. This does not include electricity, so it would be a loss situation for the camp.
Yep.
So should there be some sort of counteroffer, we are willing to discuss.
But Kate told us that they are firm on the $2,500. They are not willing to pay for utilities. And there was that additional cost of the fiber optic, I don't know, the booster or whatever the heck it was that we had to put.
It just sounds like it's just not
We're
going
going to lose money, and it's a bummer, but, you know, it would have been nice to have it
Listen,
used, but...
we support recreation, you know, 100%, but if they don't approve it, we certainly, you know, can't approve it.
So there's nothing for us to really move because it's not before us for approval.
So that's old business. Next up, we have the highly anticipated town administrator's report. Mr. Stanbrook.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just like for old business, I'd like to thank everyone that made the special town meeting held on Saturday, October 3rd a success, and that includes town moderator Sean Keeley, who did a fantastic job, moved things quickly. Town clerk Beth Sloan and her team checking people into the meeting. School director of facilities Ernie Sandland and his team at the high school, and my assistant Greer Getson for their great work getting everything ready for the meeting, and it was a job well done. So good job all around. Just on some new business, in your packet, I gave you the first quarter of fiscal year 21's articles list. The Hanson Town Administrator Special Act requires me to implement Selectmen control town meeting articles and provide written progress reports quarterly to the board on the status of implementation of all prior year town meeting votes. And I have provided you that list of all outstanding articles as of September 30th, 2020. I'll go over them very quickly. I like statistics, sadly. There are 65 active articles in fiscal year 21 with a total outstanding of $1.7 million. I'm rounding the numbers off. 0 of the 65 articles have been completed so far in the first quarter. Again, these are articles that are only funded by something other than debt. There are other articles that were funded by debt, and I will get them on the quarterly review. I've promised that the last 2 quarters, and I haven't been able to get it. I will absolutely have it on the next quarterly report of the capital projects and where they are. So again, those are capital projects funded by debt. What you have in front of you is everything that's been funded by things other than debt. And it does not include the articles voted at the October 30th special town meeting because this report is through September 30th. So there are 27 town-related articles outstanding with a balance of $411,700. There are 19 school-related articles outstanding with a balance of $514,000. There are 8 Community Preservation Committee-related articles outstanding, and their outstanding balance is $186,000. There are 9 water-related articles outstanding with a balance of $565,800, and there are 2 recreation-related articles outstanding with an outstanding balance of $85,000. If you could just please hold your questions on these for Town Accountant Todd Hassett. He'll be in October 27th. He'll be present for the FY21 tax classification hearing, and he'll also be giving his quarterly review. So, but I have complied with the special act as I must. Again, on new business, the town administrator special act requires me to give the board an update on all outstanding legal matters. I've given my monthly update via letter to you, but it will not be a public document because it may contain personnel, union bargaining, or health-related issues that cannot be discussed in public session. But again, I have complied with my requirements under the Act. Also, the town administrator's special act requires me to render a monthly financial report to the board. Town accountant Todd Hassett's been providing me with that report monthly, and I've passed along July's, August, and September's reports combined into one report, and I'll continue to pass along the reports as I receive them each month. Please hold your questions again for Todd on October 27th. We will be present. And just a quick update, last Thursday we received our first reimbursement check from Plymouth County from CARES Act funds. The amount of the check was $34,280.75. And again, there's a lot more than that pending with the county, but we were glad to get that first check. And I'd like to thank County Commissioners Sandra Wright and Greg Hanley, they were on hand. Plymouth County Treasurer Tom O'Brien, State Rep Josh Cutler, Representative from Mike Brady's office, I didn't get his name, so I apologize. Selectman Dyer was there, and Treasurer Collector Gene Sullivan, and they all joined me in the ceremonies on a very windy day, as a matter of fact, outside. But just great job all around getting that first check to us from the county. The fiscal year 22 town budget message will be going out next week to all departments. Again, I'll be working with, seems to be a common denominator, with town accountant Todd Hassett and other department heads to craft a budget that will very likely require an operational override to sustain. Again, there will be more on that in the next meeting. And just an upcoming attractions for the next meeting. The next meeting is October 27th. And like I said before, tax classification hearing will be held, and the town accountant's update are going to be the highlights. So thank you very much.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I know you said to ask questions, but I don't think this is a question Todd has to answer. On the outstanding warrant articles, obviously to the extent that people that have proposed these articles that have been approved by town meeting, to the extent that they don't use this money, for instance, something that might be out there since 2013, 2012, what's our process for getting that back on the books and money that we can use, back into the pot of money we can use?
So what I'd like to do is get around to every single one of these, the people that are that have outstanding articles, and ask them where we are with each process. It will take a while, but I think I'll be able to do it. And if we're, again, the town accountant legally has the right to close articles that he feels if the things are, whatever the purpose of the article has been fulfilled. Don't really want to do that to people if they do have ongoing things, but in a hypothetical situation where we had an article from 1987 and it just was on the books and everyone else forgot about it, I would, that hypothetical situation, I would go to that department and say, did you know you had that money? Did you ever do the thing you were supposed to do with 1987?
Right.
If you did, then I would ask Todd to close it.
Okay, great.
So I want to get around to everyone and say, where are we with these, each one of them, and have an action plan of what we're going to do. I know there's 65 of them, it will take forever, but I don't mind waiting in and trying to get rolling.
Thank you.
Good. That being said, any more questions? Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor? 5-0. All right. Good night. Thank you. Thank you all for watching.